Welcome, everyone, to the latest edition in Real Talk, where we put the real in real estate. And some of us are really tired today. I don't know if everybody's aware, but we might have had some storms early this morning. So I've got a full house and a full committed crew there. And I appreciate every single one of you being here. Even Danny Hardiman, all the way from a maybe not lovely extended stay that he's at currently right now, because his house has no internet, down power lines, all these other things. But that's just your dedication, isn't it, Danny?
Hey, I do what I can. Anything for you, Ashley.
Thank you. Well, we've got Danny Hardiman tonight, who is going to be talking about leasing and property management and specifically that space, but also talking about what his involvement in the association maybe has done for him personally, professionally, and also touching on advocacy. Because in that leasing and property management space, I think we're seeing national housing policy being reshaped on a daily basis. And really, that's one of the biggest things that we need to be watching as a trade organization and as just an industry as a whole. So, Danny, thank you for joining us tonight. We've also got Todd Bingham. Hello, Todd.
Hey, how's it going?
It's good. Are you at home or are you in a sketchy extended stay?
I'm at my sketchy house right now.
Okay. All right. Good deal. Well, we appreciate you being here this evening. And Todd, maybe a 30-second intro of yourself, because I don't know that I could do it justice for you, brother.
Oh, gosh. Well, thanks. Okay, so I'm a board member for MetroTex. I'm on the board of directors for Texas Realtors as well. I'm also a TreePack trustee, and that's something I'm really proud of. And I just believe in TreePack so much, and could probably talk for a couple hours about everything that TreePack has done for all of us as homeowners and property, just all of our property rights and everything like that. I have been in the real estate industry for around 20 years, and I've been a broker for, I think, the past 8 or 9 of those years. And I'm an independent broker here in Grapevine, Texas.
Awesome. That's where the gray comes in from being an independent broker, because I have it all around my head too, because that's several years in the making. So, and then we've got Richard Gregory. Mr. Gregory, you are here representing so many things this evening. You are chair of Global for Texas Realtors. You are chair of Global for MetroTex. But you don't stop there. You're also heavily involved in advocating for veterans as well, sir.
That's correct. I'm the government affairs director for an organization called VA Rep, Veteran Association of Real Estate Professionals. And basically what we do, we are charged with educating not only real estate professionals, lenders, realtors, even our insurance, but we also educate our veterans and our current active duty military on financial literacy, because, there are so many benefits that our military has that they're not aware of once they get out, and we're kind of charged with helping these guys out.
Well, and an exciting announcement, obviously this week, that the VA has announced that they are going to stop not allowing veterans to pay for buyer agency commission. Isn't that correct, Richard?
It's a temporary thing right now. So
correct.
We're not too sure how far it's going to go or if it's going to even help. Because like I said,
Wonderful.
Most of our veterans come into this with little cash to begin with, and having to come up with an extra 3% or whatever the rate is agreed upon is it's a challenge.
Yeah. Yep. Whether it's 2 apples or 24 oranges, right? That's what we got to figure out over there. So we appreciate it, Richard. And we've got Ruben in the chat, guys. One of our biggest consummate volunteers.
What's up, Ruben?
Hey, Ruben.
Yeah.
Hey, Ruben.
So he's going to be here to watch all of us. So Tyler, no slipping up. Okay. It's advisory group, sir.
I know it's advisory group. I'm gonna have to pay him too much money for always saying the wrong thing.
That's all right. So if everybody knows online, we actually have just changed from committees to advisory groups so that we can kind of elevate what we're doing and be more agile as necessary as the real estate landscape in our industry is changing. And those advisory groups will help us function like that. But it's still real easy to call them committees sometimes, and it's ingrained. So Tyler, how about yourself, sir? I think what you can also say is you've been voluntold to be sitting in the seat right now, but tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Tyler Christ. I've been a member of MetroTex since 2018. I'm the owner and broker of TK Realty and also the YPN chair. It turns out it was a lot of fun. So thank you for volunteering me to do it. And also going through the current TRLP program with MetroTex and just learning all about what MetroTex does. And it's pretty exciting to get involved and learn more. So thank you, Ashley, for giving us the opportunity to be on here.
Yeah, and I just need to give a shout out to Shanae. She says, "Good evening, everybody. Thank you for sharing with us." And Shanae, you are also one of our biggest advocates and cheerleaders in the real estate space. So thank you for all you do. And we got Justin Jacob from Flower Mound thanking us for our leadership. Well, we appreciate it, Justin. Maybe we can teach you a couple of things that you might want to get started in through MetroTech. So, and then Joni, last but not least, and then we're going to start back off with Danny, but kind of tell us a little bit about you. You now are in this crazy role as Tyler's, co-pilot for YPN,
yes,
but you have such an interesting, but you have an interesting story yourself. So kind of give us that Cliff Notes version of why you're sitting here today in the real estate industry.
Sure. Thank you, Ashley. So I'll be as brief as possible. I am currently the real estate broker, principal broker for J.L. Marceau & Co. I am also the founder. I did start, however, interestingly enough, as a community pharmacist. And so I transitioned into real estate in about 2008 when I got my real estate license. Did a few transactions helping family and friends and really saw the value in owning real estate and the value in investing in it. And so I kept going. I worked sometimes 14-hour shifts and then turned around and went and did, helped my clients look for properties and write up contracts and walk, my colleagues through various things. And so I just found it to be just an amazing career path for me. It allowed me to be an entrepreneur and allowed me as a broker to create the kind of environment that I want to have, that I want people to work in. So here I am today. I am vice chair with Tyler of the YPN Advisory Group.
Good job, Joni.
And I am also serving on the Professional Development Advisory Group as well this year. And I am very thrilled to have this time and opportunity to serve.
Awesome. No, we appreciate that, Joni. And just what we were saying off camera was that, it's really great to hear the different stories and pathways, and not just pathways to leadership, but pathways to real estate, because 20, 30 years ago, there was a more consistent path, what that kind of looked like. And now you hit the nail on the head. I mean, it's a truly entrepreneurial business that allows people in all of these different spaces to provide advocacy to the consumer, but also have a really healthy, thriving business. And I think that's awesome. And all of you guys represent so many different factions of that. And quick stat for those that are on here. And hey, Ed, of course, we've got Ed, one of our great global leaders who teaches CIPS and doing all of the things, not just in North Texas, but across the state and across the world. So we appreciate you, buddy. But, half of our members in the state have only been licensed since the beginning of COVID. And so when you think about those numbers, and sometimes we start talking, like, how many acronyms or abbreviations did we just say? I said we have YPN, TRLP, we had TreePack, of all these things that people go like, I have no clue what they're talking about. Surely I'm just not involved enough to not understand. And I think that's what we're doing today, is to let people know that it's not a low barrier to entry. It's a welcoming barrier to perform and participate. So, all right, now we got the new CEO, Justin Landlord, poking a little bit. He says, Real Estate Hollywood Squares. We're better off having you all involved in our association. And I would agree, Mr. Landon. So I want to tee back it up with Danny, who I know I started off with Danny. I gave all of them an opportunity to introduce themselves, but kind of give us a glimmer into your involvement, and then let's kind of go into maybe what being involved specifically in that leasing and property management space, both at MetroTex and Texas Realtors, has been able to do for you.
Sure. So hold on. Excuse me. Wow. It's been a long time since I spoke. I got to clear the throat. Yeah. So I've been licensed for 20 years now this year. I got my broker's license. I got my license in 2004. I got my broker's license mid 2006. I have been a property manager for the entire duration of my career. So I guess I swim upstream, right? I'm a little bit different than the majority of the realtors out there. I love my sandbox and what I do, and I'm very dedicated to my craft, and I'm very dedicated to helping elevate the true professionalism in property management. So I got my start with MetroTex with the Leasing and Property Management Committee. I can say that because it was a committee back then.
It was a committee back then.
Right. And, as soon as I started getting involved, when I'm like most licensees, when I first got my license, I didn't see the value proposition with MetroTex. I just thought I've got to go join these guys because that's how I get my MLS. Right. And so I didn't grasp that immediately. And boy, was I just kicking myself once I went to my first committee meeting and how much I learned, and the other peers in my little sandbox that do what I do, only they do it better than I do. Right. So,
Yep.
I was able to truly level up my business by getting involved in MetroTex, and, leadership just kind of found me. It's just, I consider myself just a natural born leader. And once I got into MetroTex, I just wanted to, pay it forward, so to speak, and kind of lead these groups. So I've chaired the Leasing and Property Management Committee twice now. Been very honored to do so. I was asked to be on this call because our current chair was not able to make it. So shout out to Katan Parikh, who's not on this call.
Yes.
He's an amazing, amazing guy, and he's brought a lot to our advisory group. I also sit on the board of directors. This is my 6th year on the board of directors. So I will be terming out. So I'm going to be really sad to get out of that room and all the energy that is in that room. So for those of you that are these COVID agents that Ashley just mentioned, first of all, I'd never heard that before. Are you saying half of our agents are COVID or later? That blows my mind. And so for those of you that are hearing what I'm saying, maybe what I'm saying will resonate with you. Get involved, get active. Even if you don't join these advisory groups, just go to the meetings. You're going to be blown away. It's really going to help you level up your profession.
You know what? Johnny Moad just said, I see a peg in your future.
Oh, here
Danny.
we go. Here we go, Johnny.
No, but you know what? Another acronym, that's a presidential advisory group for anybody that's wondering what these things are. But, Danny, it's so true. And you have been just a great resource to me personally and to also my family business, because you truly embody bringing those along that are starting behind you and educating them and teaching them. Because again, even in the property management space, there is an abundance amount of business for everybody, especially in North Texas, where rentals are just increasing to get more and more market share, in our area. But my husband and I decided to open up our own property management business. It's been 18 months now. And you were the guy that we went to. And, honestly, you've always shot us straight and have been such just an immense breath of fresh air, because you never talked down to us or did anything else like that. And you really now have become a mentor to my husband. And that's really his space and what he does. And now maybe you voluntold him, or at least by proxy, to be on the NARPM, which is the Trade Association for Property Managers. And now watching see him carve his own pathway in that and do it successfully, but having people like you and Amy Hansen and several of our other property managers, like you guys really do foster that, bring those alongside you and make that industry better. And we just so appreciate you for that.
Well, I'm thankful for having the opportunity to preach to everyone out there, and thank you for the kind words about for what I do and bring to the table. It means a lot to me, Ashley.
Yeah, absolutely. So guys, remember, active questions in the chat. I know we've had a lot of people just giving us kudos and saying hello, but if there's any questions that you want personally or to somebody directed, please let us know. But right now we'll just kind of do some round robin. And Todd, you're one of our newest directors on the board. So this year's your first year. You've had an active brokerage. You're very involved in the training and education community and professional development. But what made you want to get more involved specifically in your service at MetroTex?
Well, for me, it was a few people. For whatever reason, Candy Cook, one of the best, I think, real estate instructors in the state, maybe nation, took a liking to me and sort of told me about a few things about committees and sort of suggested some things to me. And so I signed up for 3 on the very first year, but before I even knew what a committee was, quite honestly. And that's a bit of a time commitment, but I started going, and what I realized is the people that are serving in these groups are typically like the cream of the crop within the profession. And so what I just stepping into the Forms and Contracts Committee for the first time, I was surrounded by contract nerds that really knew their craft and that knew
Love
our
it.
contract really well. And this just had a huge impact on me, and so I started to kind of talk to people in there, and a few of the other committees weren't for me. And so I kind of it was nice to be able to go around. I also learned that I could just be a guest in a committee or now advisory group. You can just kind of show up and, see what it's all about as long as it's an open meeting. And so I kind of did that. And I was just able to meet some people. And I think all of us, at least I was initially so afraid of, I didn't understand networking. I didn't understand the value of getting to know other people within my market. But I've totally changed my feelings on that. No collusion or anything like that is happening, but it is really nice. Like whenever we look at, by the way, so I'm a teacher, and you kind of teed me up for the teacher thing, but I'm not going in that direction.
Yeah, that's okay.
Whenever we look at so I teach Legal Update 1 and 2, and we talk about geographic competency quite a bit. And I don't care if, so I live in Grapevine. If somebody calls me about a Frisco listing, realistically, at least for me, and I'm not saying this for everybody, but for me, I'm probably not geographically competent in Frisco or further out. If somebody says like, "Hey, I need your help selling something in Melissa," and so to me, this is such a vital thing about networking. Is I'm meeting these people from other areas that are still within Dallas Fort Worth that are kind of contributing their time. They have a good enough business to be able to step away from it for a moment and go attend a meeting. This means a whole lot to me as well. I know I'm dealing with a probably higher quality agent or broker, and that's just been awesome. That's been one of my favorite things, really, about this whole process, is just getting to know. Granted, there are competition, but I mean, I'm not going to take a listing in DeSoto, quite honestly. I don't know anything about that area. And so it's nice to have somebody out in DeSoto that I could be like, "Hey, we serve on a board together. Would you please take over this, or, maybe help these clients out?" It's been really awesome.
Todd, that's amazing. You touched on a lot of things. So we've got Johnny Moad, who is our esteemed president-elect of the association for 2024. He said, being a leader in the 5th largest realtor association in the country, what are some of the benefits you've seen or have had by your association with MetroTex specifically? So those who are maybe in other circles or anything else, anybody want to take a stab at what Johnny's asking? Because that's the other thing too, for our listeners that are on right now to understand the size of MetroTex, which in no way, shape, or form is sitting there and belittling or demonizing anybody who's not our size, but we are the 5th largest local realtor trade association in the country. And I think we're at about 1.4 million realtors nationwide. I think we're around 150 statewide. And then MetroTex is running about 26 to 27,000 members here locally. So when we sit there and represent people, whether it's in our advisory groups and the board, we are acting as a voice for so many of our fellow colleagues. So again, being a leader in the 5th largest, can anybody articulate some benefits you've seen by your association with MetroTex?
Yeah, and I'll step in and say,
Sure.
So while I haven't been associated with MetroTex for too long, as a leadership role, it has helped bring just credibility to our brokerage. We just launched our brokerage in 2023. I got licensed as a broker in 2022. So obviously there's a lot of questions about, why would I go to a young, unexperienced broker? And being part of meeting and networking with the people in MetroTex, and then also being able to say, hey, I'm working closely with MetroTex, has really helped give the credibility and the backbone to where if it is recruiting or if I'm talking to somebody or if they see our signs, they're like, oh yeah, I've seen him. He does a lot with MetroTex. It does help. It goes a long way.
I think you're absolutely right. I mean, again, talking about like Joni, who has had this amazing career, in a completely different contributing path, and now is fully dedicated. Not that she wasn't dedicated before, but full time. She's not doing her pharmacy work anymore, but sitting there, we have so many people like you, Tyler, and Joni, and even myself. I was very young in the business, and so you have to figure out ways to help when you're not as tenured, or sometimes it's the youthful persona too, where people are not giving you as much credibility. I thought about growing a beard like Todd, but it just didn't work for me. So, but getting more involved in what we do and being able to say, I'm sitting at these seats, like when stuff's happening, like Danny is sitting there and talking to these elected officials, whether it's locally and statewide, and being plugged in at MetroTex with our government affairs director, Matthew Church, and being one of the extreme voices at the state level that helps shape, some of the things that we're doing for advocacy and policy with Texas Realtors. I mean, that's huge. And to be able to tell your clients, Danny, hey, I got to tell you, this is coming down the pike. When you have a prospect of an owner that's calling you and wanting to know whether they should pick up a property in a certain municipality or doing something else, how much knowledge are you able to bring because of your contribution in both the state, local and national association to your own profession?
Oh my gosh. First of all, not only does it help you strengthen your relationship with your existing clients, it helps you bring on more clients too.
Yep.
If you are involved at that level, and you can talk about things that are happening at the local, the state, and the national level, and what we're doing about it, And so for those of you that aren't familiar with government affairs, I mean, if there is one organization you might want to kind of start going to some of their meetings, I would start there because there are so many attacks on property rights right now. And it's not just in my playground, it's just across the spectrum as well. But kind of bringing it back in line with Johnny's question is, being part of such a large organization and being engaged and dialed in, to these conversations. I think, what you bring to the table, you have a lot more credibility. I sit in the business issues committee at Texas Realtors. I'm honored to be there, and we've got some heavyweights from MetroTex in there as well. But, being a part of such a large organization, they really want to hear what we have to say, right? Because we do represent so many people. So, I completely agree with you there. Being a leader and being engaged is really going to help you, both professionally grow, but also get you more business. And honestly, that's what we're all in this for, right?
I tell that people all the time, like, I have a servant's heart, but I also don't work for free.
Right.
And that's okay. And I think sometimes we like tiptoe around that part. We're like, oh, it's so wonderful, and we get to be around all these people. I need to put food on the table. And I don't know about y'all, but if I'm going to sit here and get involved and it doesn't sharpen me, it doesn't make me smarter, it doesn't grow my network, the byproduct is I'm not making money. And so for me, if I get to do all these things and enjoy it, and I still get to grow my business at the same time, man, is it a win-win. And I will tell you, I'm about to go to Richard over here because we're going to talk about TRLP, which is the Texas Realtors Leadership Program. Oh, there's Rachel. Proud to see her TRLP class of 32 represented amongst these fabulous advisory group leaders. So Rachel is one of our wonderful MLS managers at MetroTex as well, and she's going through the Texas Realtors Leadership Program currently with Tyler. So that's fantastic. And so we're going to segue into that in just a second. But I think that's what people need to understand. Like, all the things that we're talking about is not just about feel good. Today alone, I feel like, and I use this as a prop and it's going to be kitschy, I was like, should I wrap myself in caution tape? Because today was like a cautionary tale of all the things that are going to go horribly wrong, right, Danny? And property management. I got three listings going on, closing this week, and you're just like, please, Lord, there's not a tree through the roof. It's not flooding, all of these other things. But do you know how many of my fellow colleagues I've been able to reach out today and whether ask how they're doing, ask for a referral, give a referral, help support them, do whatever, that no matter what's going on outside, like, that's community. But I think sometimes we also forget that part, is that we are all stretched so thin nowadays with everything that we're doing. And essentially as people, we still desire community. And so, 20 years ago, you had bowling league and you had Bible study and you had book club and you do all these other things. People are stretched more and more, and we're finding out that they're not doing that as much. And so I get that sense of community through my involvement with MetroTex. And again, that byproduct is it's making my business better, but I get that community fulfillment at the same time. And I think it's just such a win-win for that. So Richard, I'm coming for you, man. All right, let's talk about the Texas Realtors Leadership Program, because you are another graduate of Heavyweight 28, are you not, sir?
That's the best class ever.
It is the best class ever. What was your class name, Richard?
My class name was Silent Sam.
And why was that?
I have a tendency to kind of sit back and keep my mouth shut and listen. And there's an advantage to that is I listen and I evaluate what everybody's saying before I input my own opinion. And it's kind of, I have to say that name no longer fits, especially when there's a topic that I'm really passionate about. I could talk for hours about it. So like I said, the TRLP, if anything, has completely changed the way I interact with people and what I think. Because before, I hear the word volunteer, my hands up before I even realize it. So I volunteer for so many things that I become overwhelmed with it. But now I volunteer still, but I know where my passions lie, where I do my best at. Veteran issues, I'm a huge advocate for our military and our veterans. I am a veteran myself, so like I said, it's a cause that's close to my heart. Another thing is global. I never realized on how much global I was doing until I got involved with the global committee. Now I have contacts in the Netherlands, I have contacts in Italy, I have contacts in Germany, Mexico, and Canada. Just recently, we had the president of CREA, which is the Canadian Real Estate Association, visit with us and do a presentation. And back to Johnny's question. Part of that was because we are the 5th largest association. They wanted to come. They know we have 26,000 people to refer to. So, like I said, I have to give my hands up to TRLP. It really did kind of help me find my strengths and weaknesses and work towards them.
Well, and I love that, Richard. And I've seen you grow so much since we graduated in 2019, and to be here 5 years, I know, right? 5 years later with you post-graduation, and it's so amazing. We've got everybody putting in their class names. We got a home run 31, class 26 in the house, and if anybody, here's what I would also say. Oh, and of course, Amy Hanson's on and screaming for Danny. Amy Hanson is another great volunteer and a consummate professional. And she is national for NARPM. And Amy, I know I keep on forgetting, you're president-elect for 2024, I think, for the National Association for Property Management. So that is huge. And guys, guess what? These very busy people are sitting here on this chat right now. Like, what does that tell you? They saw the link and they saw what we were talking about. You've got president-elect for MetroTex. You've got president-elect for the National Association for Property Managers. You've got Rick Davis, who is an amazing media company owner, a master photographer, runs a podcast studio, a video studio. Like, we have all these people that are sitting here on here right now because they really believe in the things that we're talking about. And I think that is fantastic. But Richard, specifically, I'm just so proud of everything that you are doing for our veterans, for our global community, bringing all of that to the forefront, and just proud to know you as a friend going through that Texas Realtors Leadership Program. So if anybody has any questions about the stuff that we're talking about tonight, I would say probably anybody on here can be reached on Facebook if you Google us or text or call or carrier pigeon. But also feel free we're going to go ahead and put Bill, who is running the production and behind the scenes, maybe he can put an email address for MetroTex specifically if anybody has any want to get links or applications or anything else like that. Well, there you go. You did a good job there. So that's for leadership. But we're not going to stop the conversation here. We got 30 more minutes. We got 6 people. We're not going to fill the space with a lot more content with all 6 of us. But offline, please know that we're still here to answer your questions. So, all right, who's next? Tyler and Joni, let's talk about you guys for a second, because you are chair and vice chair of YPN, which is the Young Professionals Network. What does that mean? Do we have to be a certain age? Are you going to card me at the door? What are we doing here at the Young Professionals Network?
So really, it's not. I mean, yes, it's Young Professionals in the name, but it's really just anybody who is young and getting into being an entrepreneur, whether it's real estate or really anything in the real estate industry. You could be a lender, a title professional, and you want to get into the business and network with some of the best people in Dallas-Fort Worth. And that's really what we're all about, is building relationships within the real estate community and cultivating just that collaborative thinking. And that is the whole goal behind it.
Joni, what about you? Why did you agree? Because you actually came in kind of partially through the year, and I went to Tyler because unfortunately our chair had to step down, and Tyler was like, "You're up, buddy. You thought you were going to get like a training wheels year, but now you're chair." Yeah. So who are you going to have come behind you? And he was like, "Joni's great. We got to get Joni." So Joni, why are you sitting here today right now?
Thank you, Tyler, for, raising your hand for me and volunteering me. I appreciate the opportunity. I'm big on education, and I apologize for my voice, you all. I'm just having a little bit of sinus trouble. But I'm really big on education. And to me, sitting on any of these advisory groups is education for me, right?
Yep.
So not only am I able to learn, I'm able to assist other people with learning as well. So in this group, we're about education, we're about opportunity, we're about community involvement. And it's an awesome opportunity for anyone coming into the real estate profession to join in and learn what all the real estate profession is about and be able to network. We have awesome opportunities for networking and also in, education. So to me, it was a great fit.
Yeah. And I think we got something going on, but no,
Okay.
Yeah. Ashley, she'll be back. She texted me and said her electricity went out, but yeah. Okay. And so I guess we can continue with just YPN. We do have an event coming up on May 30th at Lupe's Tortillas in Irving, and it's just going to be a meet and greet happy hour. We're going to talk about technology and AI in the space for about 15 minutes, but the whole goal is just to reintroduce YPN because we haven't had that many ways to collaborate here in the last 6 months. This is going to be the first event since I've been a chair, but yeah, it's awesome to be able to be on here and listen to Todd, Richard, and Danny, just your stories with MetroTex. So it's nice to be able to, be here with y'all. I appreciate learning from you.
And if Bill is doing his job on the back end, maybe he'll put a link in the chat for that YPN party, because that sounds fun.
Yeah,
Tech and tequila. Tech and tequila.
And tequila. Okay, now I'm
interested. After electricity going out and the storms we've been having, it's pretty fitting. If it was tomorrow, I'm sure everybody at MetroTex would be there.
Alrighty, so too late.
There it is, Tech and Tequila. So it's in our chat now.
Yes, and we're going to be trying to do more of these events, whether it's meet. Hey, Ashley's back. But yeah, the events. My goal as the chair going in to finish out this year and then to start next year is really just to get events that wrap around and introduce people to MetroTex, our affiliate sponsors, what's going on, and really just be a voice for people that are getting in. And that's the whole goal for what we're doing.
I can't really stress the importance of actually getting out and going to some of these events. To me, that's just an awesome way to meet somebody and maybe ask more questions about, hey, what does it take for me to do that? Like, you may not want to go to an advisory group meeting I highly recommend. I think that's a great starting point for anybody, is just to go as a guest. You know, we have so many, and you can find something that you're kind of passionate about. But I would just look through our events. You know, MetroTex does some really amazing events. I think between some of our tree pack stuff that we've been doing, of course the YPN events. It sounds like those are going to kind of get going again and stuff. I just highly recommend just checking that out. MetroTex does a really good job of emailing this stuff out. You just actually have to open it and look through it. You know, there's also a website or a part. I think on let's see what it is. I think it's just metrotex.com/event or events, and you can see pretty much everything we have coming up. There's a big huge calendar you can kind of look through. But just being there is huge.
Oh my goodness! Thank you guys.
Welcome back.
If I wasn't already blotchy enough from all the stress from today, which I showed nicely on my neck, but that was I don't know if it was a rolling blackout, brownout, whatever we're doing, but electricity went off, and we can thank the storms from earlier today for that. So did you guys carry the load appropriately in my absence?
Actually, I think we found a replacement for you. Tyler did a great job.
Oh, well, I appreciate. You know what? That's what I'm doing. I'm grooming my succession plan, right? As right now. So it worked. I literally texted Tyler. I said, "You're up. Carry the load."
I saw the text, and then you disappeared, like your screen froze, and I was like, "I'm gonna freeze too." I'm just here. But thank you for just having us. Is really what I got down to, and then thank you for buying my first ever listing, being the buying agent. That fun fact, that's how I met Ashley. And that was way back in like 2019, and she's kept me around. So I guess it tells you something. But
well, you know what? That's the whole thing. I think I said it's that 6 degrees from Kevin Bacon. We are all related or connected in this incestuous industry of real estate somehow, some way. Okay, but Johnny wants to know, as leaders, a lot of our advisory groups are hybrid options that allow Zoom and in person. Why do you guys think it's important to meet in person? He said, of course, also shout out to our new amazing building, of course. But let's discuss that, because I mean, I think hybrid, having this virtual format, just like we're doing right now, is absolutely amazing. Don't get stuck in the chat. Tyler, you're sitting there reading all that stuff and you're going to get distracted. I'm watching you. But it's great. I mean, being able to meet people where they are is huge, right? Having webinars. Danny, you teach classes both in person and virtually. I mean, it works. It works doing both. But I think what we've seen is hybrid can be a little difficult sometimes, because when you're all Zoom, that's one experience. And when you're all in person, that's one experience. So, you know, I think more so is what we want to do is just not advocate for taking virtual options, because I still think they're great. I take my continuing education virtually. But right, exactly, same. But there's a difference sometimes when you're trying to create connections and you're trying to really get ingrained and do that networking. That in-person opportunity is really, I think, what we should be advocating for when you're looking for that. Now, when you're looking for just instruction or an update on information, I think virtual is a great ability to have that format. But does anybody want to kind of talk about maybe why they would encourage people, if they want to get more involved and want to get more connected, to come to the building directly?
I would.
Danny, okay.
Yes, because this is something I don't think you can do hybrid well, right? I think it's mediocre for everyone when you're in a hybrid situation. It's so easy just to roll out of bed and your coffee and just jump on the advisory group call. But, you know, that doesn't really replicate the energy in the room, the face-to-face aspect of meeting with your peers. I think you really learn a lot more and you take a lot more away when you're physically there. And I know that we'll never go back to the way things were pre-COVID. And I think that to Ashley's point of, you know, you meet them where they are, I can see that, but I think you should have a good dose of in-person and a good dose of virtual. But don't do all virtual if that's all you're looking to do. You're never going to be, I'll just say it, you're not going to be a successful agent. You know, you need to get out there. I mean, everyone on this call, everyone in this chat, everyone that's going to watch this in the future, you're in the people business, right? And yes, we do talk to a lot of our clients like this, But you know what? You're going to close so many more deals when you're sitting right across from them. And you're going to learn so much more. And you're going to become a better professional when you're sitting in the room with like-minded people. So I'm pro meet in person. And oh, by the way, shout out to that beautiful building. If you guys haven't been there, you're missing out. It's amazing.
And
Can I add some? Sorry, can I add something to what?
Please, Joni.
I think when it is important to be flexible, right? You need to be adaptable, be able to be in person and also virtual, because you have to show that you have people skills. You also have to show that you have technology skills in today's world, right? However, adding to what Danny said and echoing what Johnny said, the building, it's beautiful. You have to come and see the building, because then you know what MetroTex is doing and how they're reinvesting.
Well, and that right there, Joni, I mean, the reinvesting back into our members is such a huge portion of what we're trying to do in our advisory groups and our offerings to our members, having these conversations and coming to you guys as leaders in these different silos of the organization to say, hey, what can we do? How can we redeploy our efforts? How can we reinvest in the membership? And we don't know what the members need if the members aren't coming to the building, if the members aren't coming to the advisory groups, if they're not talking to us. And that's really what we want to do. We've got, by the way, so just a plug to the building, guys, it's 40,000 square feet. We've got this gorgeous members lounge right there off the service road of 635, and nearest exit is Olympus, right by Hackberry Creek. So it's really centrally located. If you need to meet clients there, if you need to meet vendors there, that's what that is there for. I mean, really think that MetroTex is your own co-working space to be able to come in and conduct business and network and have team meetings. Tyler, if you guys ever wanted to have team meetings there and wanted to sit there on our patio, we had a great women's summit, and one of the brokers that was inviting a lot of her agents to there was like, hey, some of them are driving 2 and 3 hours away. Would you mind if we hosted like a pre-meeting at the building? No, absolutely. Let's open up the patio because that could accommodate the space. And let's make sure that broker could sit there and have that connection with her agents while going to this awesome women's summit that so many people were putting on. But we also have flex jump offices at our headquarters too. And that's what people need to understand. So you can sit there and work in the members lounge. And like Danny and myself have done multiple times, we're like, hey, we've got a board meeting and then I got to go jump onto another Zoom. And that flex office space is something that we wanted to make sure that our members had that privacy, and to have that. And so we're also looking to do that as a member benefit in our service centers. And so I think you can start seeing that type of offering too. And to Johnny's point, it's a member benefit. You pay for it. Why not use it? And that's the whole thing is, just like so many other things, it's great to have a gym membership, but if you actually don't go to the gym, you're really getting a benefit from it. And I think that's what we see so much. We've got about 15 minutes left. And I think that's actually a good segue to talk about the benefits of membership, because we're seeing a lot of things right now demonizing the value proposition of being an actual realtor versus a licensee. And I think that's something that we've really taken to heart as the leadership team. So I'm currently the president of MetroTex for 2024. And those are the conversations that we're having at every turn. If you had a true choice, because there are tools that you would not be able to access by just being a licensee. And so a lot of people just become, a realtor because they feel like they have to begrudgingly. And what we want to do is we want to change that narrative to where, yeah, I need those tools, but even if those tools could be had as just a licensee, I would still have my membership because of this. And we really want to hear that feedback from people to understand what's valuable to a Tyler, what's valuable to a Danny, what's valuable to a Joni, to sit there and say, like a Costco membership, I'm going to keep my membership just for that $4.99 rotisserie chicken because I like to buy one once a week. And if I go to Kroger, I'm spending twice as much and it pays for my membership, right? Yeah. And so we want to know what that is. And so whether it's flex office space, whether it's networking opportunities, whether it's technology, CRMs, proprietary technology that we can bring, maybe subscriptions to real estate news, outlets, not salacious tabloids, but what can we do to sit there and take those things off your bottom line as either a broker, or as an individual agent to say, oh my gosh, my relationship and my subscription, let's think of it as a subscription to MetroTex, is so valuable because I get 3x on my investment. And so let's kind of talk about that, guys, because I think we've realized how to monetize our relationship to MetroTex, but what are some things we can articulate better for other people? And Tyler, you look like you have something on the tip of your tongue.
I was going to say myself as a new brokerage, I'd say one of the best part of MetroTex memberships is got to be y'all's training. Coming into the building, you guys have the best training in Dallas-Fort Worth. That bar none, it doesn't matter. Go take a class. All of them are awesome. We make all of our agents get MAP certified. Cool. Once they're done, they save 1/4 of dues for MLS. But it just comes down to technology. And at the end of the day, having a membership at MetroTex and being part of NAR is just standard of business that we're doing. We're held to a higher standard.
Yeah, nope, I completely agree. I have to give a shout out to my daughter, who is probably on her way home from Great Wolf Lodge. My husband woke up this morning and we had tree limbs in our driveway, and he's like, my kid's going to Great Wolf Lodge if I have to saw all these tree limbs down myself. So hi, baby, and thank you so much for tuning in. But Tyler, you're absolutely right. I mean, education is paramount. And so, a big part of that MAPS is a great resource. And Todd, thank you for sharing that link in our private chat. But that MAPS certification is sending agents to take our MLS trainings. And there's this connective tissue of how many courses you need to take. And you take them and they're free. And they teach you how to utilize the MLS and the services you already pay for in your membership. Or your subscription to MLS, and then you get 1/4 of dues. By educating yourself and investing back in yourself, we actually take away a billing cycle, which I think is pretty awesome. So we'll have that linked here in the chat in a minute for you guys to kind of see that. So, Todd, what are your thoughts? What are some things that people are not equating to the value in their membership to the real estate association?
Well, I'm going to kind of echo Tyler. I really think that whether it's education or like actual education classes or just being involved with anything that MetroTex has going on, I mean, in my opinion, it's kind of part of I call it selling out. If you're going to be a realtor and you really want to know, in my opinion, we should all really be striving to know everything that we could possibly know about our profession, instead of just kind of like, we're going to wait and hear and find out what the news says or whatever about what's going on. And I just think that's been my biggest benefit from MetroTex that I've received is just once you actually get plugged in and start attending the events and maybe going to a few advisory group meetings and just kind of talking around with people within our organization, man, it's just amazing the amount of confidence that it gives me as a realtor whenever I'm talking to consumers. And I think to me, that's the real deal. If we're looking at what are consumers attracted to, I think there's those people that do the fake it till you make it kind of thing. And I think that some consumers fall for that. But I think most consumers are attracted to true confidence. And the way I get that is just from the different sources within our local, within MetroTex. And I think that's the biggest benefit for me.
I can tell you, there were a lot of people when I actually signed up for the Texas Realtors Leadership Program through MetroTex. And I remember telling a couple of them, they're like, you're going to take it like a 10-month class or whatever it is and be with like your competitors. Like, how is that going to get you more business? And Richard's laughing. I mean, I think people were kind of like, what are you doing? And I can't tell you, by being in the room from people that are smarter than me or know more about certain, lanes of our industry and other things, or introducing me to people that know more, or having past people that have graduated from this program. You guys saw it. I mean, how many people are putting their class year in the chat? I've actually won deals because I got to say, hey, you're TRLP. I graduated in this class. And it's kind of created that camaraderie in that club. Like, I hated school, I hated high school, I hated college, so I never did the sorority thing. But it's kind of like it's the realtor, sorority. But people know, like, oh, you went through that, so you got sharpened. doing that program. Like Cindy Bass just said, to be successful, you surround yourself with successful people. And I remember sitting and I was rebuilding my business and I was still sitting in a mastermind, just trying to figure myself out again several years ago. And somebody spoke to me and said, you never know when you are just one meeting or relationship away from changing the entire trajectory of your life. And I think sometimes we create this exponential view that like, I have to be in rooms with hundreds of people when sometimes it's just one. It's just one relationship and one person. I can tell you right now, Danny Hardiman, I would never have felt confident to sit there and open up a property management division because I would never have wanted to do it in a way that was infantile. But by having you as a resource and having you as a friend and a mentor, I knew that we would do it the right way and we would invest in ourselves. And you have helped me grow that part of my business, which has been huge because you sit there and you look outside right now. I mean, the real estate world has changed. You can't just sit there and bank on one type of referral source or product type or lead generation. And so to sit there and diversify appropriately, as Todd would say, we need geographical competency. We also need, to be proficient in these different areas of real estate. Gosh, I would never have been able to do that if I didn't have these relationships with all these amazing people that are sitting here today and in that chat. So as we have a few minutes left, Richard, I'm going to go to you. You've talked about TRLP. You've talked about, your advocacy with the VA. What has being plugged in both avenues, what has that done for you and your personal life, your professional life? Give our viewers something that they can take away with your involvement there.
That's a good question because, a lot of people say you shouldn't do this, but my professional life is my personal life. There's absolutely no way I can separate them from each other because, majority of my business is referral based. And that referral base comes not just because I was a good real estate agent with them, but I'm a friend with them. I kept in touch with them. I just went to the first baby's birthday of one of my clients that I sold their house like 5 years ago. So, and kind of touching back on the Zoom thing, I love and hate it because it makes things easy, but I miss that personal interaction. And that is one of the benefits with MetroTex, especially with this new building. You go there and you have the personal interaction with people. You learn from people. You learn from the classes, but I learn things from you every time I talk with you. And it just, and even Danny, it's like surprisingly, I learned things from Danny. I learned
surprisingly, gosh, none of us learn things from Danny.
Well, yeah. I learned that I am not built for property management. So
I'm not.
Hey, you and me both, Richard.
No, like I said, there are a lot of agents out there that sadly don't have the brokers that teach them or are there for them. So having that community, being able to come into MetroTex and knowing that they can go up to you, they can go up to Todd, they can go up to Tyler or Johnny or even Danny and ask them a question and they'll get honest feedback. And we aren't competitors, but we're also colleagues. Mm-hmm. We have to work together. It's not a competition. Well, don't. I've learned very early on, you do not go in competition with Ashley and expect to win. Ashley always wins. But
stop it. No, but you know what, Richard? Here's the thing, and I don't know that I got a better comment. By the way, my leadership name was Smashly Ashley, which I've had my entire life. And it's transitioned from why I was Smashly in one era to Smashly now. But here's what I would say. Richard came to me a couple of years ago and he told me, he said, I just want to let you know that you pushed me out of my comfort zone and being in the class with you, and he considers me a friend, by the way, I don't scare Richard. But he just basically told me by being with you and being around you, it pushed me out of my comfort zone and I'm willing to be more bold because of that experience with you. And like, there is nothing that, like, I cherish that, Richard. I hope you know that. Like, I tell people anytime like that comes up, I'm like, I love like cheering you on and seeing that success, because you've always done so well for yourself. But to know that I had a part in shaping you in one way or another, like, will always live so close to me. And I think that's what that leadership program truly does. You take those little bits and pieces from that. And in turn, you've also taught me that it's okay to say less, and stand in the background. Now, I don't always exhibit that, but I know it's an option. So I've learned things from you as well.
That's awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, I'm gonna go to Tyler. You're in it now.
Yeah.
You've gone through a few sessions. You're actually doing it with my husband, so I
Yes.
get to get a play-by-play sometimes of not your antics, but the antics. Oh no, we've got Bina.
Bina
Just popped in.
Yeah, we are the best class, 32. But my favorite part of being in TRLP so far is our class, especially, is so diverse, and everybody's at different stages of their career. There's brokers in there. There's realtors. There's team leads. There's photographers, lenders. So like, we have a very diverse group, and we get to come together once a month, push each other. And so far I think we're 4 modules in. It's been awesome. And I thank you, Ashley, for, pushing me to do it, because while I always thought, I had leadership qualities, I would say I was lacking in leadership skills. And it's just being there to just slow down, as me, who just runs 100 miles an hour, to slow down, learn a true skill set, so then I can go and benefit my agents and then other people within MetroTex. It's been a lot of fun. So thank you for, volunteering me to maybe apply for that as well. It's been awesome getting to know Bina. Ruben's part of it. Ruben's also part of our advisory group. And yeah, it's just a lot of fun.
No, I love that. All right, Todd, you're also a graduate, buddy. What did you learn from the Texas Realtors Leadership Program?
Look, I learned so much from it. I'm kind of like Richard in that a lot of times I just observe. I think it gives me a competitive edge later. I'm not really the most quiet person, but I do like to kind of figure out what's going on before I throw something out there. TRLP, if you can get into it, I don't think every applicant is accepted. In fact, I know they're not. But if you can get into it, whenever you start that program, if you compare yourself and you make it all the way through to the end, there is no way you're going to be the same person if you participate at all. And I think that it's really, it's probably I've done a few other leadership things in the past, but this is TRLP for me. We were a weird one. I'm class of 29, and we call ourselves one of a kind. And it's because we were. This is like it literally, I think, the first or second module, COVID sort of hit and the lockdowns happened. And so we had to sort of pivot. And anyways, we had a weird time, but I still got to know a lot of people, and we were just very careful about our gatherings and stuff like that. But man, the cool thing about TRLP for me is it made me understand the importance of MetroTex and getting involved. There's a lot of people that complain about a lot of things, but they're not willing to step up and do anything about it. And I think something like TRLP really helped me focus on, okay, well, gosh, then, I can be a voice here and have my voice heard and have my opinions heard. I also learned a whole lot about TreePack and what it actually does. It's kind of the fundraising, I think the fun side of government affairs. We get to do all the fun stuff and raise all the money that government affairs sort of has input on where that goes and stuff. And I would never have known about any of these awesome things that have really made me a better advocate for homeowners and private property rights if it wouldn't have been for TRLP, Texas Realtor Leadership.
I would be remiss if I did not plug the fact that polls are closing soon for runoffs in different counties right now. And I know some have extended to 8 p.m., but if you haven't voted, go vote in those runoff elections because they are, yes, woohoo advocacy, Cindy Bass, because that is the core of what we do. So, Danny, I'm going to let you close us out, buddy.
Oh, no.
So you are our most, you're our most actual probably tenured advocate for MetroTex for the association. You've chaired leasing and property management twice. You keep on coming back for more, and I know you will always be here in a leadership capacity one way or another. But what do you want to leave our viewership with here this evening?
By saying all that, it just makes me feel old, Ashley.
You're fine. I'll be that next year when I roll off, so it'll be good.
No, I mean, I would just like to just reiterate to everyone, yeah, we've been saying this all night long, but get involved. Go to a meeting. You know, that one investment, you have no idea where it's going to take you in your career. You know, get in the room with other successful people. You know, iron sharpens iron, you know, and you get in there, you learn, you network, you become a much better person. You're going to make much more money, and the sky's the limit. You know, go from there. So I don't know where I would be if it wasn't for MetroTex.
Well, I think we can all echo that. Don't create an artificial ceiling for yourself because you don't expose yourself to more opportunities. And I think that's what MetroTex can do for every single person. And if you think that we are not a welcoming, inclusive, big bunch, I can tell you right now, most of these people have not interacted separately together on this live stream tonight, and how amazing our energy has been able to gel together because we've all done our different leadership journeys. We're involved. We're doing these things. We have a passion for that. And I can tell you right now, you guys, I would not have the relationship with any of you if it weren't for MetroTex. I'm smarter. I'm better. And I love having friends and colleagues like each and every one of you. So let's continue to sharpen one another. Let's bring people behind us and forward and do all the things that we can, guys. And we appreciate it after a very long day. And Danny, you might have had the longest. But you're going to go cheer on our Mavs tonight, right?
Go Mavs.
Right after
Go
this.
Mavs.
Go Mavs. And we appreciate you guys. Have a blessed rest of your week, and we will see you very, very soon. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thank
Bye,
you,
buddy.
Ashley. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.